Good morning. Welcome everyone to our first session of our Aerospace Space Track sessions for the Houston Tech Rodeo 2021. I am pleased to welcome our first session presenters. This presentation is Training Tomorrow's Aerospace Workforce, and we're pleased to have with us Dr. Janice Fowler from San Jacinto College and Mr. Steve Altemus, the President and CEO of Intuitive Machines. Steve and Janice, please introduce yourselves and welcome this morning. Thank you again for participating.
Good morning, and thank you, Paul, for the introduction. Yeah, like Paul says, I'm Steve Altemus, the President and CEO of Intuitive Machines. And at Intuitive Machines, we build spacecraft and fly those spacecraft to the moon. So we're very excited to be here, and we have a series of tall tasks ahead of us to land on the moon by the beginning of 2022. And the team's got their head down working hard to make that dream into a reality. So Janice?
I'm Janice Fowler. I am the director of the Aerospace and Education and Workforce Department, part of the Continuing and Professional Development Department at San Jacinto College. We're very happy to be here and working very closely with our aerospace partners. I'm going to go ahead and ask Steve a question here, and we're going to go back and forth. Hopefully we'll give you a lot of good information that you can use and tell others about as well too. Good. Steve, tell me a little bit about what IM is doing, and then also what workforce needs that you foresee that you'll need.
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to. Janice and I have been working together for a long time now, putting together educational programs for the workforce here in the Houston area and through San Jacinto Community College. So it's a great partnership, and I appreciate having time to talk to you today. Intuitive Machines is really in a unique position. Back in 2018, we positioned ourselves to be a space systems company focused on flying to the moon and providing access to the surface of the moon and growing the lunar economy. So that sounds big, but we've ended up winning major contracts with NASA, the Science Mission Directorate, to fly their payloads to the moon and send their data back to Earth. And so we've won several contracts, and so Intuitive Machines has a task to return the United States to the surface of the moon for the first time in 50 years. We'll do that robotically. In order to do that, we've had to put a whole lunar program in place, which is essentially a mini Apollo program. So from end to end, we're here in our control center, mission control for our first mission, right here on Bay Area Boulevard in Houston, Harris County. We've had to purchase a launch vehicle. We've had to integrate our spacecraft lander onto that launch vehicle. We've had to design and build that lander and communicate with that spacecraft on the way to the moon and touchdown. We've had to build a whole communication network. So we have essentially all the infrastructure we need to fly to the moon. We'll fly in January. We'll fly again in December of 22. And we'll be first to drill for water ice on the moon and first to hop into a permanently shadowed crater. So we have a lot of exciting things on the near-term horizon. And the message here is it's real. It's happening right now. And we need a workforce that's going to support us to get those milestones accomplished and help us be successful. So we've been working closely, as you know, Janice, and with San Jacinto Community College to form the EDGE Center, which is to educate aerospace technicians to support these kinds of jobs. So we need workforce that does touch labor, right? We need machinists, we need composite technicians, we need additive manufacturing technicians, electrical technicians, quality inspectors, all of those kinds of skills that produce a quality product in a timely way with skilled craftsmanship is what we're looking for and trying to train within the EDGE Center.
So we actually started the EDGE Center back in 2019, and we set it up specifically to address the aerospace training needs that Steve has just mentioned specifically. But we also offer customizable training for any aerospace company, whatever area that they're going into, because besides Steve, there's a variety of other aerospace companies that are starting up, getting going. Some have been here for a while, and they're taking on various projects from doing all types of very, very interesting but very complex missions, even to being part of the Mars situation and the Mars journey, hopefully. So that's part of what we're doing. One of the things that I'm very proud to say is that the Edge Center has been designated by the Houston Airport System as the education and training center for the spaceport. So we're really proud of that. We will really have a big mission ahead of us, and that is to figure out what everybody needs and to provide the type of training that's going to help these companies reach their objectives. And really why that's so important is a lot of our skilled workforce may or may not be in this area. So we are having to actually go and find out what type of skills are needed and to actually bring that back here. We've had a lot of technicians in the industry, like you mentioned from the Apollo days, that are retiring. And then of course, some of our high school students aren't really going into the skilled trades. So we really want to emphasize what the skill sets that are needed and to bring those back to the Houston area and emphasize that. More importantly, as Steve mentioned, how we kind of got together is originally the Houston area lost a big company. We won't go into who that was, but that put our sites together, and we said, hey, what can we do to avoid losing more large aerospace companies not coming to the Houston area? And through an initial group, including BAHEP, which is our area economic development, the Houston Airport System, and Rice University's Space Institute, we decided to go out and look for best practices. And so we went all across the country to Wichita, Florida, Alabama, and places here in Texas to see what is being offered in the way of aerospace technician training. And we came back with a bunch of great ideas. We were very fortunate to have wonderful curriculum that had just been developed through 180 Skills, and we were able to purchase that. And then also, most importantly, is we needed advice, and we needed advice from subject matter experts. And that's when we grabbed Steve and about 25 other wonderful representatives from our industry here locally, and we let them guide us as to what type of workforce programs they wanted to see. And like Steve just mentioned, some of the very first 6 programs we put together included composite materials, structures, quality inspection, machining, which was real critical, manufacturing, and also mechatronics. And our mechatronics is getting up and going as we speak right now too. So we did all of this, and also we wanted to emphasize that it would be leading to some national certifications, which we thought was very important. So we made sure that our programs were aligned with Space Tech and CertTech certifications. That's pretty much what we started with. We have enrolled some students already. We've actually had a graduate, and we've had a number of interns that have gone on to work for companies as well too. So Steve, tell us a little bit more about how you've been involved with the Edge Center and how you've used some of the interns.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic program. And oh, geez, how long ago was it? About 1.5 years, 2 years maybe. Sally Kay asked me to join as the chairman of the advisory board for industry to help build the curriculum for the Edge Center. And so I jumped at the chance to share my experiences in industry with my other industry partners and peers to help guide what this program ought to be all about. And I think what's unique about San Jacinto Community College is how closely that community college works with industry. Because if you build a curriculum out there in a vacuum without being closely tied to off-ramps into industry for the students, you probably don't get the success rate that they've enjoyed. And so from the beginning, Dr. Halyard has said we need to work with industry at San Jacinto Community College to find placement for these certificate holders or graduates so that they can be functioning into the workforce. And that's been a major focus of mine personally, is to help that not only guide the curriculum, but to give the students an off-ramp into industry. And so what we start with, Janice, as you know, is we contribute in several different ways. One is it's an online curriculum that's followed up with lab work or shop work. And those shops need industry faculty or professors of practice, if you will, in terms of teaching the students hands-on work, how to run a CNC machine, or how to lay up a composite, or how to build a harness. And so Intuitive Machines, not only as the chairman of the advisory board, but we offered as a company opportunities to mentor and train some of the students. And in addition, when we get a look at all the students that are coming through the Ed Center, and then we can actually offer internships to come and put their skills to work in the real world, in the company, actually building spaceflight hardware, ground support equipment, test fixtures, et cetera. And they're working now side by side, not only with their professors of practice, but the subject matter experts in the domains, also with senior level machinists, pneumatics techs, composite techs. And so they're getting a very rich experience as a follow-on from the certificate that they get. And then those interns move on to grow into full-time positions in Intuitive Machines. And we've been successful with internships and recruiting those people into the company, and they've been of incredible value. And they're all amazed that they're getting to work on a lunar program. Yeah. But they're bright, incredibly talented, and we're grateful to have them.
I get to see it on the other side with the students too, and they are just amazed that they get this opportunity. And not everybody does. A lot of times you come through classes at a university or a college and you don't really see how it's applicable. So I think this is a great program to learn those skills, but also to apply them and then to learn and to grow. And so we're opening up the internship program to a lot of companies in the area as well too. So we hope this will be a very successful program as we go forward. You might talk a little bit too, Steve, about where you're going. We know what's happening in the near future, but what do you see as some future needs that you may need for some of the technicians?
Yeah, well, so you have your fundamental touch labor skills, like I mentioned before, mechanical, electrical, pneumatics, hydraulics. New emerging disciplines like mechatronics, where you do electromechanical work, very unique skill. Even in our engineering, but also in our technicians, where you can actually put multiple disciplines together to create an end product. That's really a unique thing. And so the mechatronics program is coming online, and we're excited about that. The other area is the way, some of the innovation that comes out of going to the moon on a fixed price is how do you do it faster and cheaper? And one of the things that's actually been essential to our success to date has been the use of additive manufacturing. And that's, a laser sintering process with very expensive machines that puts down a thin layer, maybe half the thickness of a human hair, and then hits it with a high-powered laser and lays up layer after layer for thousands of layers to create a part. There's a skill associated with running those machines. You can't just push a button and have it work. And so additive manufacturing technicians are in very short supply. And it is a growing and growing domain or discipline. We get nearly 80% efficiency in schedule and 80% reduction in costs just by using additive manufacturing in the right applications. And so the more technicians that we can have that are trained to run these complex machines, to lay out the parts on the build plate, and to work in this environment. And there's a safety aspect too, because some of the powders are explosive. So that skill is essential. And there are no courses really in universities that you can find the skill. And so San Jacinto's moving out with additive manufacturing training too, I hope, so that we can be the recipient of some of those skills. And so I really look at that as a growth area. And as we on-ramp more and more technology innovations, the need to have touch labor follow up and actually be able to work with those technologies is incredibly important for us. And that's why I think we're going to have a continuing partnership with San Jacinto to develop this curriculum and continue to enhance it as time goes by. For you now, let me throw you a question since I hadn't done that, is where is the Ed Center going? And in particular, over the long term, how can businesses get involved? You know, we have some 25 different businesses on the advisory panel. Everyone's really engaged, whether it's in mentorship or whether it's in giving interns or contributing to the curriculum. But how can other businesses get involved? And can you share some insights on that?
You bet. The Edge Center is really part of a larger ecosystem here in the aerospace industry. And one of the things that we're doing and we're trying to promote a little bit more is we're getting out there, we're working with the Houston airport system, we're trying to recruit more companies, we're trying to add more programs that are relevant and needed right at this particular moment. We're working with our ISD partners to build that interest and that passion for an understanding of the aerospace industry. Some of the kids that we run into in our efforts, don't really understand what's going on, especially on the commercial side. So we take a big role in really reaching out as early as fourth grade and building that solid interest of what's going on. So we introduce them to the Lunar Project, we introduce them to the Artemis Project. We tell them about companies that are right here in the backyard that they can eventually work for. And it's building that passion, building that interest. We also work with our university partners, and that's something that we're really starting to move forward with. My boss, Dr. Sally Kay, this has really been a lot of her brainchild. She is leading a group now, putting together all the universities. So the Edge Center won't necessarily just be San Jacinto College. We're going to be inviting other entities like University of Houston, Rice, Texas Southern University, U of H, Clear Lake. Bring all these partners down. We all have classes, we all have programs that we can offer. Why not work collaboratively to build the workforce that Houston really needs to become the #1 aerospace city in the country?
That's the way.
I think that would be a great vision for all of us. We're trying to do the very best we can with that. As far as where we're going, right now we're very pleased to have been awarded a large grant from the Department of Commerce. And what Steve and I are going to do, our two groups are working together to enhance our facility. First and foremost, we're going to do as much as we can to upgrade things. We're going to bring in state-of-the-art equipment. Steve mentioned Additive, where we've got 3 3D printers on the request. So we'll be bringing that in. Those are going to be all different types, composite 3D printer, metal, and then just the plastics as well too. So we're hearing what you're saying, and we are ready to go with that. We're also going to start looking at different programs that we can bring on. We've got our first 6 down. Those are solid. We've got students going through that. That's great. What should we identify as maybe the next 3 or the next 6 that we could add as well too? So we've got that on the horizon. We hope that'll be avionics, electronics, 3D printing, and things like that. But as far as how businesses can get involved and help out as well too, first of all, call us. We'll work with you. We'll get to know your business. We'll get to know what employee needs you need. You can just go to our website and find out information, sanjac.edu, and type in the Edge Center, and it'll take you right to my phone number, my contact information. We'd love to be able to help businesses get involved. One thing we would like to see happen too is we'd like to see sponsorship of what we're doing, and that primarily could come through scholarships. One of the largest barriers any student has, I don't care what program they're in, is finding the money and the resources to attend class, especially full-time, if they can. So we're always looking for businesses to help with sponsoring scholarships as well. But just give us a call or come to our website. One of the things I meant to say about our students it's really easy to get registered. It's a one-page application. But first and foremost, if you'd like to check us out a little bit more, you can come to one of our information sessions. We do these fairly often, and you'll get a little bit of a view of what Intuitive Machines is doing as well too. But that way these students will really understand what they're getting involved in. And once they do that, they're hooked. They're excited. We're excited for them. And there's nothing more fulfilling for us than to watch one of these students come through this program and then go work downstairs.
Yeah,
it's Intuitive Machines.
One of the things that we didn't talk about here that is really important to the success that we've had so far jointly is really the context of how this has come to be within the Houston spaceport, right? And so the first spaceport in a municipality, metropolis, that's fully functioning. So we've brought together both the municipal government of Houston and the Houston airport system, but also San Jacinto Community College as the academic or educational aspect, and then business with Intuitive Machines being the first tenant at the spaceport. And putting that together to train a workforce and produce aerospace products is what a spaceport's all about. And so I'm glad to hear that you're bringing other universities and other educational institutions to bear, and companies are moving into the spaceport now, so that the whole thing is now beginning to grow exponentially. And Intuitive Machines itself is planning to continue its presence at the spaceport and expand. And so I really think that Houston has something special here that has kind of been hidden under a bushel basket for a while, and it's starting to burn really bright, and people are starting to take notice. And I think it's just the beginning of what a space city should have at the core. So you can expect, a workforce that's fully qualified, that attracts R&D and high technology companies that come in and grow. And what we're looking for, from my standpoint, at the Houston Spaceport and with this whole program is to bring more mature startup companies, not just two guys in a dorm room coming up with a software application, but actually mature companies that actually create and make, bring their ideas into life in the physical sense. That takes, touch labor to build, right? Whether that's a spacecraft, a drone, a flight simulator, a space station module, a spacesuit, however you want to think about it. That's really what Spaceport Houston should be about, and what the city of Houston and Space City should be about. So I'm very excited about the future of Houston, and people need to pay attention because it's growing exponentially, and it's got its own character. It's not Austin, and it's not Silicon Valley. And so let's grow a community here in the city of Houston that is built to the culture and the strengths of the city. And I think we can be a very powerful, innovative R&D and technology hub in the United States.
So we have a couple questions. I'll just read them to you from across the room, from Chris Westmoreland. First is going to be for Steve, I believe. Do you work with subcontractors? That's a pretty easy one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We have, for our lunar program, we are in 47 congressional districts in terms of our supply chain. We have vendors and suppliers also around the world. I'd say about 95% of our activities are U.S. domestic suppliers, and only a handful are international suppliers. But yes, we actively work with subcontractors and have great relationships, whether those subcontractors are embedded with us here at Intuitive Machines or they're in the other congressional districts. But it's a very broad and diverse footprint for a supply chain.
And the next one is for Dr. Fowler. Are there training programs for more mature workforce for those people converting from other industries?
Absolutely. We talked a little bit about, and I didn't go into a lot of discussion about incumbent workers, but anybody of any age can get involved. You don't have to necessarily be right out of high school. You can retrain. We also get people who have come from the military who want to brush up maybe on some specific skills, and we can put them in. We'll assess what type of skill sets they have so we don't duplicate those, and then move them into some other areas. One thing I'd love to see are more well-crossed trained aerospace technicians, where they come in, they know composite materials, they know mechatronics, they may have no electrical, enough that they're a well-seasoned technician that can fill more than one role, because our companies are moving fast. They have complex needs, and you just never know from day to day what that might be. And so if you have one person who can do multiple jobs, I think that would be, first and foremost, they'd be a very good person to have on board, but also they can help the company achieve what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I think we talked about this at the advisory board. In fact, during the COVID pandemic, there was a lot of industries that suffered and there were a lot of job losses. And so the Ed Center served as a way to retrain certain industry workforce to aerospace. And if you think about the energy city here, oil and gas, Houston, there's a lot of oil and gas technicians who are extraordinarily qualified, machinists and all. If you just take that workforce, if they're displaced when there's a downturn in oil and gas, and turn them to these certificate programs in San Jacinto's Ed Center for aerospace skills, you can slightly change the application of those skills to apply to aerospace. And so that's what we're hoping to do in terms of this cross-industry utilization of workforce and cross-discipline utilization of the workforce here in the city of Houston.
One thing I wanted to mention too, I should have brought this up. The committee, the Aerospace Advisory Committee and San Jac College, we really wanted these programs to be quick and flexible, so that students could come in at any point in time. They could work during the day, take classes at night, but we also wanted them to be inexpensive. We don't want them to sit through semester after semester after semester. We want them to come in, get the skill sets that they need, and get out and move into a job. And that's, I think, what we've put together here too.
Yeah, it's been fantastic, and we've done a tremendous job of keeping the costs down.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly affordable set of programs, and so I encourage students and even a mature workforce to take a look at the Ed Center curriculum. I think that's all we have today. All the time we have today. Any other questions today?
Looks like we're all good.
All right. Well, Janice, thank you for the time today,
you,
and I
Steve.
appreciate having a dialogue with you for Tech Rodeo.
Thank you both again for your participation. Fantastic job, guys, and a lot of great information. Thank you. Take care.